Greetings, it's Ian from RTO here. Welcome to another Sophomore Drome. We're back on what one's off picked. The good news is we'll be doing some more of your picks in February. So today I've gone for a bluesy one today, and I've gone with Fleetwood Mac and ZZ Top. So who brought out their album first? Well, it was Fleetwood Mac, and their second studio album was Mr. Wonderful, and it came out on the 23rd of August 1968. This was an album recorded live in the studio, which we'll talk about later. And there was a horn section that introduced Christine Perfect of Chicken Shack, and she appeared on keyboards. So the rest of the band was Peter Green on vocals, guitar and harmonica, Jeremy Spencer on vocals and slide guitar, John McVie on the bass, and Mick Fleetwood on the drums. As I said, you've got Christine Perfect on keyboards and pianos, you've got Duster Bennett on harmonica, Steve Gregory on alto sax along with Dave Howard. Tenor sax was done by Johnny Almond and Roland Vaughan. So, first track is called Stop Messing Round. It's one of these tracks that they're counting in, stop counting and just play the damn track. I find these sort of tracks a little bit irritating. I want to listen to some music. The second track is called I've Lost My Baby. I love this. This slow blues mixed drumming on this is brilliant. You know, solid stuff, a fantastic track. Rolling Man, great track. I love the horns on this. Brilliant stuff. And then they do a cover of Elmore James's Duff's My Broom. Quite a few people have been, recorded this, including ZZ Top. It's a great tune. I've never heard a real bad version of it. I've heard a lot of blues bands play it as well. It's an excellent track. My favourite track on here is Love That Burns. I think it's got a super sound. The guitar work from Peter Green is magnificent. He's just a great thing. Dr. Brown, a version of the Buster Brown song. It's not too bad. So we'll move on to side 2. We've got Need Your Love Tonight, another great track. Everyone's covered that. It's a wonderful song. I really like that. If You Be My Baby, another great blues track, and the horns on this are fantastic. Some great drumming. That bass from John is excellent. Evening Boogie, some amazing guitars on this. Then there's Lazy Poker Blues, and I've said this before, I prefer the Status Quo version. I'm not a big fan of this version, to be quite honest. Never have been, but Status Quo's got a little bit more grunt. Coming Home. A lot of these tracks we've got that same start. It's another great little track, and it's an Elmore James number as well. And the last track is Trying So Hard to Forget. The guitar and the harmonica work so well on this, and it's a great little vocal. I like this album. I think it's better than their debut, because on the debut there was so much larking about around. You got distracted from the music, but the tracks on here are good. There's a lot of covers on here, but it's just great blues. So that's what I think. So what do the critics go for? So compared to their huge success of the band's first album, the follow-up received mixed critical reviews. Alan Evans of New Music Express noted the album's deep, exciting blues sounds and thought that the vocal of Green and Spencer had a smack of the deep south on certain tracks. Writing for the Record Mirror, David Boltwood thought that the songs were all recognisable Fleetwood Mac, even with the additions of saxophone. He wrote that Lazy Poker Blues isn't as lazy as the title Distressed. suggests and described Near Your Love Tonight as a psychedelic Hawaiian blues. So what was that? There's not many sort of ratings, but AllMusic only gave it a 2 stars. How did it do in the charts? Got to number 10 here in the UK. In the Finnish charts, it got to number 6, and in Norway, number 8. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of Mr. Wonderful. Song quality. Yeah, there's quite a lot of covers, but the songs they do are pretty good. Although, I mean, I like the song Lazy Poker Blues, but it's not my favourite version of it, so I shall give that a 3 out of 5. Production. Production's a little bit... It's a little bit muffled in places. It was recorded live with mic set up around the room, and mic'd amplifiers and plugged in rather than plugged into the board, to the mixing board. I don't think it worked, to be quite honest. So I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5 as well. Reception, yeah, top 10 album, top 10 in also, in 3 countries. Critics were mixed, so I shall give that a 4 out of 5. And now we come on to cover design. That is horrible. It's got to be one of the worst covers ever. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10. I don't want to see a topless Mick Fleetwood looking like death warmed up. I think there's more life in the doll than Mick Fleetwood. So that gives us a grand total for Mr. Wonderful by Fleetwood Mac of 11 out of 20. So let's move on to our next contender, which is ZZ Top and their second album that was released in 1972, Rio Grande Mud. Of course, it's got Billy Gibbons, Dusty Hill and Frank Beard, the band that were together for 50 years before Dusty's sad death. So the first track is Francine. This is just a terrific blues track. You got that lovely bass line from Dusty. He always had a great bass. It's a terrific song. I really like that. Second track is Just Got Paid, one of the classics from ZZ Top, especially one of their earlier things. That classic riff and the solo from Billy on there is amazing. It's a great blues track. Then we have Mushmouth Shouting. Some great harmonica on this. Another thunderous bass line from Dusty. Brilliant track. Then we get Cocoa Blue. Driving riffs, that blues harmonica. Love the bass line again. Just very good. Chevrolet, a brilliant guitar. Billy Gibbons on fire on this. What a funky blues track that is. And then on the starter side too, we get an instrumental called Apologies to Pearly. It's just a good old-fashioned blues boogie, and I love that track. Then we have Bar BQ, another boogie track. Some top drumming from Frank on that. I love that track. Then we got my favourite track, and it is my favourite slow blues track that ZZ Top ever did, and it sure got cold after the rain fell. I love every element of this. That lovely sort of gentle drums from Frank, that lovely little bass line, and some great guitar work from Billy, and the solo is fantastic on that track. Whiskey and Mama, another stonking track. The upbeat of this is brilliant. I love that track. And the last track is Down Brownie. Got that real heavy riff at the beginning, a brilliant solo, and you just got Dusty's bottom line just really in the groove. Absolutely brilliant track. I love this album. It's a mixture of fast blues, boogie blues and slow blues. It's one of their classic early albums in my books. So what did the critics think? Now, AllMusic retrospectively gave it a 3.5, saying their second album uses the sound they sketched out on their debut as a blueprint, and yet they tweaked it into a slight but important change. So what did the critics think? So AllMusic gave it a 3.5 stars. Chris Gow gave it a C. My God. Rolling Stone, it was mixed. The Rolling Stone album guide gave it a 2, and the Daily Vault A minus. Chart wise, didn't really make any significant. It didn't do anything over here, but it did on its subsequent releases. It didn't do too bad. It got to number 85 in Australia, and on the Billboard it only got to number 104. It's a great blues album, but there you go. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of this one. Song quality, there's some great songs on here, without a doubt. They had only just got started. They weren't the polished article in 1972, but they were well on the way to it, so I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5. Production, great production on here. It's raw, it's plug in and go, but it's got a more sort of solid sound on this, so I shall give that a 4 out of 5. Reception, it got a mixed one. It wasn't I think it's one of them slow burner albums, so I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. Cover design, yeah, it's them in a load of mud. Yeah, it's all right, I suppose. I don't know if it is them or not, but it's 3 guys up to their necks in mud. So I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. So a grand total of 14 out of 20 for ZZ Top's Rio Grande Mud. So on the points, he's actually a win for ZZ Top. And I'm going to stick with that because I think, although Mr. Wonderful has got some great blues songs, the sound is terrible. You know, there were better blues albums being recorded in 1968 than Mr. Wonderful. But then again, ZZ Top's Rio Grande Mud, the sound is superior. It's still got that raw edginess. It's quality. So today's winner for me is ZZ Top's Rio Grande Mud. Now you may disagree with me, so there is a poll now in posts, and we'll put a poll up on the live stream tonight, and then Dave will announce the winner next week. Okay, that's all for this one. I've got another exciting one next week, but coming up next it's Pick and Mix, and this week it's In the Camera's View, and we're going to look at a DVD VHS from Judas Priest. So bye for now.